So training camp started about a week ago, so you know what that means. It's time for HBO's NFL Hard Knocks series to premiere again, and this time they're in the city of Los Angeles, but for the first time in series history, they're actually following two teams, the Los Angeles Rams and the Los Angeles Chargers. This isn't the first time the Rams have been on this series before, but I'm pretty interested to see how these storylines are going to turn out, because the Rams are ushering in a new era and then moving on to a new stadium and a new location. You know, they had kind of been playing in the LA Coliseum where USC plays last year, for the past few years, but now they're going to be playing in their own state-of-the-art stadium that is going to be crazy. So I'm looking forward to see how all that develops. On the other hand, the Chargers are going through a new era themselves, as they're actually ushering in a new quarterback for the first time in 15 years with the departure of Phillip Rivers in free agency. And sprinkle on top of all of that, it's in the midst of a pandemic, so there's going to be a bunch of procedures and hula hoops and all kinds of stuff they have to jump through to make these camps go smoothly. So I'm interested to see how these two teams compare as far as their approach to safety on the field and off the field. But in this video, we're going to give a quick recap and review of the premiere of Hard Knocks for the Los Angeles Chargers and Rams. And I'm going to give a couple things that I pointed out that I noticed, and a couple things I'm going to be looking forward to as the series goes on for the next few weeks. What's going on, everybody, man? This is Aaron Duncan here with the Necessary Bluntness Sports Talk, and I start off every video by saying, what up, dude? This is the channel I might not tell you what you want to hear, but I'm definitely going to tell you what you need to hear. And I give recap and analysis of the NFL through videos, podcasts, and all kind of different things. So make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you don't miss a thing when I drop all this content, because I'm going to be doing a review every week of the whole season of Hard Knocks, and I want to get you guys' thoughts in the comments too as this series progresses. So make sure you guys subscribe so you can keep up the next time I drop a video. But hey, let me know down below in the comments if you plan on watching this year's series of HBO Hard Knocks. I know we're all home a little bit more now, so we got a little bit more time to watch some TV. So are you going to bootleg it, or are you going to get it on HBO? What are you going to do? Are you going to watch a series? Let me know down below in the comments. So the opening scene started with the Los Angeles Chargers and the head coach in particular, Anthony Lynn, and it was pretty cool, man, and it was just a little interesting to see, to get some insight into what type of coach he is. You know, I'm on the East Coast, so I don't really get all the news that like that from the Chargers, and they're not a big market team per se, so they don't get a lot of press coverage either. So would it be good to understand what type of guy Anthony Lynn is? And it's easy to already see that he's a player's coach, man. He's real cool. He's real laid back. He's pretty energetic, you know what I'm saying? But he's real stern and straight up. But he pretty much explained to his team that the team that handles the situation the best is going to be the one that has the best chance of being successful this year and holding that Super Bowl trophy. So he wanted to make sure he put that out there and communicated with his team. He also noted to his team that he had COVID. And this was big to me because we heard about Doug Peterson and Sean Payton contracting COVID-19, two other NFL head coaches, but we had no idea Anthony Lynn did. Anthony Lynn said he didn't feel like he needed to tell anybody, nor did he feel like it was a big deal as far as letting the world know and just saying stuff like that. So he kept it to himself. He said he felt pretty bad, but he's over it now. He's back at camp and he's full throttle. So he for one should know what this team is up against when it comes to COVID-19, So I think that'll be interesting to see how he approaches it going forward. But another thing in the opening scene for the Rams is, it seemed, I don't know exactly where their location is, but they had a lot of stuff that was I call it pop-up, from their medical facilities that they brought to have testing and stuff like that. They rolled out rubber and turf sheets for their indoor practice facility, and they created a whole weight room with a tent over it. There's air conditioning and stuff like that. So it's really amazing to see how these NFL teams operate when they move to certain locations for training camp and whatnot, and what kind of stuff they can kind of pull out of a bag and build themselves. So I thought that was pretty cool to see all the stuff that the Rams did and just going over all the protocols that they had in place. But the opening scene just kind of caught up to everything that happened over the course of the offseason, and it was interesting to see that Anthony Lynn mentioned that some of these guys he hasn't even met in person yet. So it'll be interesting because these guys really haven't met around with each other since December of last year when the season ended. There was no mini camp. There was no any kind of reunion like that during the summer, no kind of OTAs. So this will be their first time actually being with each other in person and kind of talking. So I thought that was pretty interesting that this team has been assembled for a while, but they haven't really had much communication face-to-face. You're going to get this free stock tip from me. Make sure you guys go invest in Zoom, because that's pretty much all these NFL teams are using. The Rams, they kept talking about Zoom. I don't know if Zoom was paying them or they just decided to give them some free advertisement, but they had all their meetings on Zoom. The word was used Zoom multiple times. When they were having issues, Zoom was dropped before, and it just seemed like I don't know if it was a plug or what, but just know that if the whole NFL is partnering and using Zoom, it's a good thing because they also have Microsoft as their little iPads and stuff or whatever tablets on the sidelines, but they decided to use Zoom anyway. So that tells me a lot that Zoom is going to be a big crutch for a lot of the teams in the NFL. So make sure you guys go buy some Zoom stock. That's my free stock tip of the week. Just bring me a commission whenever you make some money. And they tried to kind of fabricate some kind of new bonding activities during the offseason over Zoom and stuff. They had some weekly Zooms. And I know people were doing that with their family. I just thought it was interesting that they did it together. And especially with the whole George Floyd protest and the social justice movement that's going on right now, they were forced to have some tough conversations with guys, like you said, they haven't even met before. And it was just over Zoom. So I know that had to be kind of weird and awkward and kind of stiff and sweaty for a lot of people in there having those uncomfortable conversations. But it is what it is, man. So another thing I like about Hard Knocks is you get a chance to go home with some of these guys and get to see how they're living. And the biggest flex of the season so far is he may be outdone, but he may have won it already early on. The biggest flex is always one guy on Hard Knocks that flexed the most. It was Sean McVay, head coach of the Los Angeles Rams. Let me tell you about this guy's flex, man. They popped up on him. He was in some nice fancy thing that looked like a condo, but once you zoomed out, you realized it was a big house in the hills with a ridiculous kitchen. He was pouring up a glass of wine with his smoking hot fiance. He walks out on the porch and they just show his great view of the hills in Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? I don't know exactly where he is, but he's in LA. So he has a huge house on the hill, and he's sipping wine, feet kicked up. And then he had, not to mention the icing on the cake, he takes his shirt off, he's buff. Then he talks about, I'm just going to go play with my dog. I taught my dog how to play basketball over quarantine. So he has one of the best dogs. He has a great looking house. He has a great looking wife. And he has a cool dog. So I was like, man, Sean McVay really put the flex on. It was a weird flex. It was a humble flex. I'm not going to say it was weird. It was just humble. He didn't really know what he was going on with the flex, but he knew what he was going on. You know what I'm saying? So it was really interesting to me to see Sean McVay flex like that. If you've had a test, you know how uncomfortable it can be, or if you've even seen videos, you know how uncomfortable it can look, and you get kind of nervous seeing how far those things goes up people's nose. So some of these guys had been tested, so they had some experience. Some of these guys hadn't been tested, so they didn't have any experience, so they didn't know what to expect. They were asking the questions that all of us want to know. Are you going to be poking on in my brain with that Q-tip that you stick up my nose? Or how deep do you have to go? How long does it take? La-da-da-da-da, you know what I'm saying? So that was also funny to me. And the highlight had to be Casey Hayward.
No, I had it before, so I know it's bad.
Oh, it's bad?
I didn't like it. It goes too far up.
Okay, you ready?
I think so. Cross my fingers.
Okay.
I gotta get prepared. No, for real, I gotta get prepared.
Just the breath.
Y'all ever had it? It ain't fun, is it? It ain't fun. You had it?
Yep.
Okay.
One. Ready?
Yeah.
I promise. No, don't move.
I ain't try to.
See, that's not bad. Done. It's good?
Yeah, that wasn't the worst one I had.
It was just hilarious to me because I've had that test, and it's the worst feeling in the world. As soon as they pull that thing out, your eyes start watering instantly, your nose start running instantly, and it just feels crazy, man. But I felt the pain, but I just thought it was hilarious how Casey Hayward went about that. And, of course, while they were getting tested, one player had to sneeze with his mask on.
Oh, sorry about that.
Want a tissue?
No, thank you. I don't have corona. That was just a sneeze.
And the seriousness in his face was what we all go through. I can relate to it so bad. You can't even cough, sneeze in public. You can't sniffle or anything like that in public these days without somebody thinking you got the Rona and they telling you to back, give me 50 feet instead of just 6 feet. Another big thing that the narrators pointed out in Hard Knocks was the fact that these players have so many non-padded, non-contact practices and walkthroughs that it'll be 2 or 3 weeks before you even see these guys in shoulder pads. And that makes sense because, like I said, these guys haven't been on the field since last December. But at the same time, it's how effective of a training camp can you have when it takes about 2.5, 3 weeks for you to even get a chance to put pads on? So, because there's not going to be a preseason, so what the heck do we have to look forward to on this show besides behind the scenes stuff, jokes, in-depth stuff like that? So I'm guessing they don't have a lot of content to fill up with game action. So we're going to get a lot of good narrative stories and inside information. So that's another thing to look forward to. As I alluded to earlier, I wanted to really see and compare how these teams would approach the healthy protocols that are put in place by the CDC or by their own teams. You know, the NFL did not have standard protocols that they put out for each team. They kind of let each team handle it on their own. So I wanted to see who really was taking this stuff serious, who was slacking, who was OD and the germaphobe, who was doing what. So when it comes to these two teams, I think the obvious, what you can tell from seeing it, the obvious thing that's pointed out is that Anthony Lynn is taking this serious. Like, he sees guys standing too close, he tells them to spread out on the practice field. He was having a long debate about if he should wear masks during the walkthrough or not. He decided to give it to him. Versus Sean McVay, he had the same discussion about wearing the mask or not, but he decided not to. And they wear the mask during the workouts when they hit the gym, but when they're out there on the practice field, they don't wear masks. And you can really see in the Chargers the difference, just because even when they're inside in the facilities with together, the first 4 rows of the rooms that they're teaching in the classrooms that they're having their team meetings in are empty. You know what I'm saying? The coach is in the back with the mask on, trying to yell his hardest to get to the volume to reach to the other side of the room. But it's just certain circumstances and hoops you have to jump through that has to do with COVID-19. It's going to be interesting to see how these teams take it. And I think the one reason that Anthony Lynn seems to be a little bit more cautious is because he had it. So he knows how serious it is. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people in this world, in this country, I guess, too, they're not taking COVID-19 serious until it hits close to home, whether they get it or a relative gets it. So I think Anthony Lynn, that'll help him. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that Sean McVay is not taking it serious, but Anthony Lynn is definitely taking it up a notch when it comes to that, and it's for good reason. And the last thing I want to point out is the whole Jalen Ramsey situation. You know he got traded last year from the Jacksonville Jaguars during the season for 2 first-round picks and another pick also, but he was in the final year of his contract, and he still didn't get a contract extension during the offseason. And he had a press conference, and the media was asking him about the contract situation. He gave a pretty straightforward answer.
Is it important to you to have a new contract done before the season opener?
My agent and the front office, they'll handle all that.
Right, but I mean, just for you mentally going into the season, is it important for you to have that security before you step onto the field for a game, to have an extension?
My agent and the front office, they'll handle that. Come on now, you know I ain't finna, you got to take the answer I give you, man.
It is a fair question, though, considering.
I answered it, though. I said my agent and the front office, they're going to handle it. I'm worried about what I can worry about. I'm controlling what I can control. I answered the question. I'm not going to continue answering it just because I'm not answering it the way that y'all want me to. Either accept the answer or keep it pushing. I don't want to get disrespectful, but that's the answer. Appreciate it.
Really?
That's what I'm talking about. When I give you an answer, you stick with the answer I give you, dog. That's genuine. I'm not lying to y'all. I'm really not worried about it. The Rams knew that before they traded for me. They knew what the situation was. We all have been on the same page from the jump.
You understand what these guys are going through. I don't know what the media is expecting to get. I guess they wanted some kind of story for him to say something to give them a story. But at the end of the day, they got a story anyway because they can write something about the way he reacted to them asking the question. So it's being I'm not a part of the media, I guess. You kind of see it from a different light, but I mean, respect the guy's wishes. That's all I got to say. But I did think it was ironic that he wanted to do a lot of talking about the contract when he was in Jacksonville, but now he wants to keep it generic and brief and talk to his agent. Is it a sign of maturity, him listening to his agent, or was what he was doing in Jacksonville just to play to get put out or to finally force their hand to pay him? It is what it is. But what I'm looking forward to the most this season is to see how both of these teams proceed with this COVID-19. See if there are any outbreaks that are going to happen. They mentioned the Miami Marlins a few times and just kind of telling their players, giving them a warning of what happens when you aren't responsible. So I'm interested to see how long these guys can go before something crazy happens, if it does happen, knock on wood, you know what I'm saying? And I want to see how this stuff proceeds and how they make roster moves without having any training camp or a lot of padded footage to even do that. They already had to trim the guys from 90 to 80 on this past episode, and fortunately Anthony Lynn got to do some of it over the phone. Another one, the guy took it pretty hard, so he had to cut 10 guys, and he told him it's a numbers game. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's going to be a lot of transactions this season with people getting infected with COVID, so don't take it lightly that the fact that we cut you so early that we might bring you back. The fact that you're familiar with the playbook gives us reason to bring you back in. Once he said that, it really made sense. You know what I'm saying? It really made me respect Anthony Lynn a lot too. And he actually went and told the general manager that he was glad that the guy was upset that he got cut that came to him, because that lets him know that he wants it and he has that fire. So he told him to put him on the short list. So you can see the passion, and passion is part of the game. I respect Anthony Lynn for seeing that as a coach. I'm also looking forward to the quarterback battle between Justin Herbert and Tyrod Taylor. They claim that the job is open. They claim it's likely that Justin Herbert will see some playing time this year. And with all the weapons that they have on that offense, I mean, what better way to ingratiate your rookie quarterback in? You just need some protection. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens there as far as that standpoint. And for the Rams, I just want to see how life is without Todd Gurley. I know we got a piece of it last year, but I want to see how the narrative is behind closed doors when they talk about it. And I want to see how Sean McVay and Jared Goff can work together with the circumstances of this offseason to have a bounce back year. I'm excited, man. I love Hard Knocks. It's a sense of normalcy when it comes to sports, and it's something to talk about too, man. We haven't really had a lot to talk about since COVID-19 and sports has kind of stopped. So I'm glad we have something to talk about, and we got football on the horizon. And week by week, we're getting closer to that regular season. So you guys make sure you hit the subscribe button below and give the video a thumbs up too, guys. It really helps me in the algorithm. And make sure you share this and tell all your people about it. Let me know if you're going to tune into the episode and what your thoughts are about it after you watch